I just didn't quit. That's the only distinguishing quality from me and probably whoever else going through this or went through this or is gonna go through this, is that I ain't quit. I went through every emotion. I went through every emotion with trying to pursue what I'm doing. You know what I mean? And I think that what's gonna separate whoever's gonna try to go for something is that you ain't gonna quit.
What's up, YouTube? Welcome to the channel. On today's episode, we're going to talk about what it's like to have a cellmate for 11 and a half years. So in prison, when you're incarcerated, you don't really have the luxury unless you're in segregation or if you're in like a facility that has an incentive program. Some incentive programs give you the option to get a single cell. You know, when you have a single cell, you know, you have stipulations. You know, you got to keep a job, you got to be right up free. You know, you gotta do all the good things. You gotta walk that fine line and walk it. The majority of the time that I did, you know, I had to always do it with a cellmate. You know, I did get in a lot of trouble when I first got incarcerated. The first couple of years, you know, I had so much time, and it was hard for me to see the future. It was hard for me to see 22 years down the road. You know, even though I did 11 and a half of it, you know, it's still, you know, the uncertainty was there. It was unlike, you know, you never knew how many years they could keep you because they had the option to keep you for that long. So first couple of years, I kind of really just didn't care. So, you know, if there was an issue, you know, I did what I did. And if it, you know, I had a issue with a cop or something like that, I didn't hold my tongue. You know, I did stuff like that, you know, and it cost me about a year and a half in good time. And good time is basically what you get every month when you don't get write-ups. So when you do get a write-up, what they do is they deduct the good time away from what you've already earned. So, you know, you could have already earned like 3 or 4 years and you start getting write-ups or getting in fights and things of that nature. They're going to deduct all that from you. They're going to take them 3 years. They're going to take that year. So, you know, when I first got locked up, I got a whole bunch of them. You know, when I first got incarcerated, the facility I went to, man, I had a borderline racist white dude in my cell, and you know, he tripped out when I first came in there, and I went and sat down with some people I knew that were black. You know, when I got back to the cell, he came to me and said, "Hey, oh man, you can't be doing that, man. Hey, you know, you're gonna get jumped on. You're gonna," and you know, at the end of the day, I told him, you know, at the end of the day, man, I'm not gonna be nobody in here that I wasn't out there. You know, I'm not going to come in here, and I know prisons have politics, and in Colorado they got politics, California they say they got politics, and I get it. But at the end of the day, I couldn't budge on that right there. So, you know, it was interesting because after that, you know, I had to, you know, live with this man for X amount of days. And you know, when you're living with a cellie like that, or, you know, any random person that they put in to house you with, you know, you got to deal with these guys. You know, you might even have to beat his ass inside the cell, which is unfortunate. You know, you might have to put hands on the man inside the cell just on the pretense, you know. And at the end of the day, you know, it's unfortunate that, you know, you come down and get broke down to these living conditions where, you know, you're living with any random joker. You know what I mean? You're sharing a toilet, you're sharing a sink. You know, you guys have to be in the cell. You know, there's no way to get around it unless you got a job or he got a job. So, you know, living with a cellmate, you know, you definitely gotta figure out each other's schedule, and you gotta work around one another. So, you know, if I go to work and my hours are 6 in the morning till 4 in the afternoon, you know, he might work inside the unit and be there all day. Well, when I get off at 4, it's like a common courtesy in prison when you have a cellmate to, you know, be out that cell by that time. You know, if you can, if there's a day room, you know, go out there. But like I said, majority of the time you're locked down, so you know, you get off work, you're sweaty, you want to get in the shower. You know, you got to strip down in front of the man. You know, if you know, you got to use the bathroom, you know, you got to use the bathroom in front of him. He got to roll over, turn the fan on, light the candle. You know what I mean? In prison, what we used to do is we get oil, like Muslim oil, scented oils, and we'd be able to burn that on our lights. So we put that on a little piece of tissue and put it on our light, and you know, the light would heat up, and then it would turn on. It had a scented smell, like, you know, like a potpourri type of smell. So, you know, we turn that on, hit the fan, and you know, you got to roll over. So now you gotta be in this room listening to this man's you know, intestines talk to you. You know, like, you know, and it's a situation you can't escape, but you know, after so long you get used to it. You know, there'll be situations sometimes with being incarcerated, that the whole facility will go on lockdown for a couple weeks, maybe even a couple months, and these are weeks and months on end that you gotta sit in this cell with this man with no shower, no nothing. You guys are taking bird baths. And when I say taking a bird bath is when you use a little sink and you wet a wash rag, and you clean all your areas. Some people will even take a trash can and fill their trash can up with water and pour it on themselves and all kinds of stuff. At the end of the day, it's real rough circumstances to have to live under. And privacy, you don't have any privacy. When you're in the cell and you're laying there, you might even have a TV in your cell. You got another person that's gonna be sitting on the side trying to watch your TV if they don't have a TV. So, you gotta accommodate them to a degree, and then you're gonna have, somebody that may have a TV and they're gonna be up there more likely laying there. The facilities I was at, they set a couple of facilities I was at, they set up the TV racks where you could press the button with your toes. So you would lay on your cell and you just use your toes. So I always used to walk in on my cellie and he'd be laying up there eating chips, flipping the channels with his toe, and the TV used to make this click noise every time he hit it. It'd be like, so every time he'd be up there clicking it, and it used to be irritating, because when you're confined with a person like that, especially a person that you don't know, sometimes, at least to me, it seemed like you start seeing the stuff in these people you don't like. Every morning it might be the situation that you're already in is so frustrating, and you can't escape the environment. And then you add on to this that you got this kind of guy, or you got this kind of person that you have to live with, and then you got to think, when you have a cellmate, this is somebody that shares the room with all your personal belongings. So you may have pictures of your family, you may have pictures of your girl, your daughter, your mother, whoever it may be. And now you got to keep in mind that you don't know what your cellie is doing to these pictures while you're gone. You know what I mean? Because in there, there's a lack of women in there. So without a touch from a woman, men are in there easily excited. So you got to think about it. If you leave these pictures up on your board, you don't know what your cellie may be in there doing to these pictures. And I know it's a nasty thought to even have to think that, but that's the reality that you're living in there. I never lived with any predators or any child molesters or anything of that nature. That's a given in prison. At least if you have any kind of worth to yourself, you're not gonna let that fly. But in prison, you can kind of tell who's who, because there's a hierarchy to a degree, and who the weirdos are. When I say the weirdos, they're like the child molesters, or people who went against the code, or whatever it may be. So you always know where they're at, because they always knew their position. And when I say they know their position, it's like they sit in a certain spot in the chow hall. Some of them don't even come out at night. They don't even come into the day room. Majority of them may be getting extorted. They may be paying somebody to live even in the pod without getting beat up every day, or harmed in some manner. So at the end of the day, I always knew my cellie had I want to say a real case. I know I always see his paperwork to a degree, but I knew he wasn't never going to be there was never no rats up in there. I think one of the wildest experiences that I had while I was incarcerated, I was in a facility where it was all bars, and your cell had bars like the ones you see in the olden days, and the way you had it was the door opened up, and then on the other side of the door there were some more bars where the bunks were, and they covered that off with a little like a blanket, and it came from yay to here, and one morning, it was early in the morning, right after breakfast, I was laying there and I hadn't got up, and somebody hit my foot, because you can stick your hand through the bars, and they hit my foot, and they were hitting my foot, and I looked and I was like, what the hell is this? And I looked, and it was a cat that I knew that lived in the pod. No names need to be said, and he hit my foot and told me come out. So I go out, the door was already open, because at the facility I was at, the door is open from X amount of time, and I went out there, and I was like, what's up? I'm wiping sleep out my eyes, man, what's going on? What's up? And he's like, hey, man, I'm about to beat your cellie's ass. I'm like, damn, man, for what? And he's like, yeah, it's just going to be me one-on-one, but, man, your cellie owes me a lot of money. He's been talking funny to me. And I said, damn. And, I didn't know the man like that, but what I told him was, I said, hey, man, it's only fair that he gets up and gets the fair one. You can't just yank him out the bunk like that. So, long story short, they took care of that right there. But, that's just the type of things that you have sometimes, living with the cellie, is that, you don't know what they're doing. A lot of people in prison, they consume their time with like gambling and things of that nature. So, a man may owe a poker debt, they spend their whole money on poker table. I know a lot of people, they send their people in money and they go gamble it on the poker table. They spend all their hygiene money, they blow it on the poker table, and then they owe debts or they refuse to pay, and then there's consequences. You can't escape nobody in there. So having a cellmate in prison is when you want to go to eat. So say if you go to your box to go get some food, you got to look out for yourself. A lot of people that you're in there with don't never have no money coming in, and the real kicker is that the state pays you about $13.50 a month just for you being there. If you got a basic job and they give you the 30 cents a daily, you make like $13.50. And at the end of the day, there's no way to live off that. So you got to have somebody on the outside that has love for you. So I'd always bless my cellies. I'd always hit them off with a little bit. Sometimes I'd even order them a little 10 packs, 20 packs, whatever they may need. But you're living in an environment where people don't have nothing. A lot of them people burn bridges, or family done passed away, or whatever it may be. They don't got no money coming in. So you got to always share. Your cellie's always there. If you heat up some food, he gonna know about it. And a lot of times, people build up resentment, especially if they see you eating and they feel like, man, this guy got it. It's just human nature. People develop those characteristics, and I used to pick up on it, and I always try to be, as best as I can. But at the end of the day, sometimes there's only enough for me. You know what I mean? Like, and it's a conflicting area to be in, because once again, you got to live with this person day in, day out, and they're watching over all your stuff inside the cell. You don't know if they're going through your box. You don't know, what I mean? So a lot of times at facilities I was at, you could put in a move request. So if you were cool with somebody, and y'all wanted to move together, it may take a week, 2 weeks or something like that, but they do it like early in the morning on a Sunday. Boom, they'd have you grab all your stuff. You had like 20 minutes, move all your stuff, and if you were good with the unit officer, they'd make it happen even quicker. So at the end of the day, it made it a lot easier having a cellmate that I at least knew, and that we was on the same page. And when it come down to breaking bread, we was on the same accord. You bring something to the table, I bring something to the table, and we gonna make it work. And at the end of the day, having a cellie right there, a lot of times, that's who you chilling with. And when you're in the cell, you need to have a good little vibe. I don't want to live with somebody I ain't feeling, that we having some kind of, what I mean, like, blockade between us as humans. And, unfortunately in prison, you don't have the cream of the crop to choose from. You get some strange people up in there, and there's some real good dudes in there, though. There's some real good people still locked up in prison. And, to live under those circumstances of, having a cellmate and being on a routine every day, and, just living under the pretenses of being limited in life and having to repeat that movie over and over every day, it should be a determinant for anybody that's listening to this or watching this, not to ever put yourself in a position that would compromise your freedom. And all you do is just go from one place to the next place, and there's always somebody there. You never get no alone time. When you're in the shower, you got people around you. When you're in the bathroom, you got people listening. You know what I mean? You got, like, there's never real privacy. So, to take that into consideration, that, to trade off your freedoms out here for a life like that, you're being reduced to crumbs. So if you don't want a cellmate, keep your ass out of prison. Don't put yourself in any positions that would allow you to even be compromised in any nature of anyhow. For me, 11 and a half years was a long time. And, I met a lot of good people on that road. And I'm still meeting a lot of good people on this road. But essentially, it all comes back to being a good person inside, and the character is everything in prison. So, so thank you again, YouTube, for watching. If you like this video, please hit that like button down there. If you're interested in more of this type of content, be sure to hit the subscribe button. I greatly appreciate you guys watching. Hit me up in the comments, and I'm out. If you like this video right here, please show some love and hit the like button. Also hit the subscribe and notification button to stay updated for the latest videos. New videos will be dropping Thursday, 9 p.m. Mountain Time, so please stay tuned.